All right, welcome back for another video. We are in Canto 10 today, and we have, obviously, we've made it into hell, we've made it down the various circles, we've made it through Circle 5, which was the river Styx, and up to the walls of the city of Dis in the previous canto, Canto 9. The angel came and dismissed with an effortless wave of his hand all of the demons that were being an obstacle, being obstinate with Virgil. The gate is open, and Virgil and Dante are able to walk through. And the last couple of lines of Canto 9 say this: "Then, having turned himself round to the right, we passed between the martyrs and high walls." And that word matiri, which we've seen before in Canto 5 with Francesca, you might remember, is a pun in the Italian. It means both punishments or torments and martyrs. Martiri being from the ultimately from the Greek, which means witness. So that term martyr takes on this form of someone who has been punished, someone who is suffering, someone in torment. And so here it can mean both the punishments that are being endured by the sinners, or it can mean martyr in the traditional sense, a witness to something. And so we have that here again in the first two lines of Canto 10, where it says, "Now along the secret path my master goes between the city wall and martyrs." So here it is again. And what they're doing is they're going alongside the city wall, in between the wall and the inside of the wall, and all of the graves. You remember Dante describes this field full of tombs, and the tombs are open, and the lids are hovering over or are behind it in some way, but the tombs are open, and out of the tombs come this flame, and in these tombs are the heresiarchs, those who decreed or developed or taught or followed heresy. We're gonna see in Canto 10 the Epicureans. We're not going to meet Epicurus, but we're going to meet a couple of his disciples who were some Florentine politicians from Dante's day. And we'll meet them in a moment. But again, the poet is calling them martyrs. And that's really interesting because in some way they are martyrs. They were killed for their faith. It was a false faith, but they endured the to use a parody of Hebrews 12, they despised the shame, endured the cross for the lie that was before them, right? And in this sense, they are witnesses to their false beliefs. They are martyrs in these ways. And that's going to become important for understanding why they're here in middle hell, but that's something we'll talk about in the next video when we dive into Canto 11, which is where Dante, through Virgil, gives us a description of all the different layers and what the difference between upper, middle, and lower hell actually is. And so we'll pick up on that next time. So with that, Canto 10, here we go. "Now along the secret path my master goes between the city wall and martyrs, showing me who comes close behind the way. O highest virtue," I began, "that leads me through the impious circles, tell me, as it pleases you, satisfy my wish. The people that lie hid within these tombs, might they be seen? Their coverings are gone, and no one stands to guard them from above." He said, "All will one day be bolted shut, when, from the valley of Jehoshaphat, they return with their bodies that perished." So that's interesting. That is an allusion to Joel 3, verses 2 and 3. The Valley of Jehoshaphat there being a reference to the second coming and the final judgment, the great day of judgment, when everyone, believer and unbeliever, wicked and righteous alike, will be raised into their bodies. Everyone will regain their flesh, and then those who are damned, we saw this back in Canto 6, those who are damned will return with their bodies down to hell, and those who are redeemed by the blood of Jesus, his blood atoning their sins, will ascend with their bodies into the new earth and enter into that everlasting glory, that eternal state with their bodies. But that's something that is in the future. And so when that day comes and the sinners, the heresiarchs, return to this circle with their bodies, they will re-enter their tomb, and that tomb will be shut. That's what Virgil is saying here. Moving on. There we go. Oh, sorry, I lost my place. In this one, they share a cemetery with Epicurus and his followers, who made the body to die with the soul. Therefore, the question you have put to me will promptly be satisfied from within, as will the desire you still keep quiet. So this one is Epicurus. This tomb is devoted to Epicureans, who ironically believed and taught his followers to believe that the body dies with the soul, and the soul dies with the body. In other words, Epicurus was one of the first prominent materialists, believing that there is nothing after death. There is just vacancy, there's void, there's emptiness, there's nothing. Your body and soul are annihilated in death. And that what that means is that the soul does not have a real immortal essence to it that transcends the physical life of the body. There is no immaterial existence other than that which is tied to the physical life of the organism. And so what's ironic, of course, is here they are, their souls living on in hell. And doubly ironic is the fact that they will, like everyone else, ascend on that final day of judgment and regain their bodies, and their bodies and souls will be returned to them, and they will re-enter their tombs, body and soul. And so, in a sense, they are right. The body only, the soul will die with the body, except that the body will live forever. The body is eternally present there in hell, and so the soul is eternally present as well. This unique state of affairs where the body and the soul are divided because of the physical death, this is unique. This is not normal. This is not how things were meant to be, nor how things will be for eternity. And so, yes, the body will only die, or the soul will only die with the body. They thought that happened at physical death, but the fact is that the body will live on eternally in hell for those who did not believe in Jesus. And I, good leader, I was not hiding from you my heart, only to be concise did I speak, and you have heard as always. O Tuscan, that through this city of flame goes alive, speaking honest, gentle words, let it please you to remain in this place. Your speech exposes you as native born of the noble fatherland of Florence, toward which perhaps I was overbearing. This sound suddenly escaped from one of the sepulchres, at which I, full of fear, drew a little closer to my leader. But he said, "Turn round! What are you doing? See there Farinata, standing erect. From the waist up you can clearly see him." I had already fixed my face on his, who was raising both his breast and his brow, as if he held all hell in great disdain. So this is Farinata. He was a Ghibelline. We've talked about Ghibellines and Guelphs. He was a Ghibelline that fought and helped the Ghibellines win a very decisive battle in 1260, 5 years before Dante was born, and that the battle of Montefeltro. No, not Montefeltro. Yeah, no, Montefeltro. Sorry, having a brain spasm. And so he is a very well-known political leader and soldier for the party that opposed Dante's Guelphs and helped bring about their destruction in 1260. Not total destruction, but removing them from power. The prompt and daring hands of my leader pushed me forward between him and the tomb, saying, "Let your words be measured and fitting." As I stood there at the foot of his grave, he gazed at me, some spitefully it seemed, then asked, "Who were your elders and betters?" Right? Who were your fathers? Who were your ancestors? What house do you come from? What's your lineage? That's what matters to Farinata. I, desiring to obey, did not hide anything from the shade, but opened all, which made him raise his eyebrows a little. Then say, basically, Dante identifies himself, his family, and that he was a Guelph, so of the opposing party to Farinata. Then he says, they were fiercely hostile to me, to my people, and my party also, such that I routed them twice. That's what Farinata says. I answered, if they were exiled, they always returned on both occasions and on every side, an art that your people never learned well. So there's a little bit of tit for tat here. There's some talking smack. Farinata says, we exiled the Guelphs, and twice. And Dante says, well, if we got exiled, we came back and exiled your party, the Ghibellines, and they haven't learned how to return yet, right? Because it's now a Guelph-dominated state in Florence in 1300. And so he's talking smack with this shade. At the very moment, a shade arose uncovered and seen only to the chin. It seemed he had raised himself on his knees. So there's another shade that comes out of the tomb, behind Farinata. He took a good look around me, as if wishing to see if others were with me. After his searching was all spent, he said, weeping, if through this blind prison you go on account of high ingenuity, where is my son? Why is he not with you? Right, this is Cavalcante de Cavalcanti is his name, and he's the father of Guido Cavalcanti, who was Dante's very good friend and fellow poet, of about a half a generation older than Dante. And so he sees Dante coming through this realm and is wondering why his friend is not with him, or if his friend is with him, if Guido is with him, his son, Cavalcante's son. Now, interestingly, Farinata is the father-in-law of Guido, and Cavalcante is the father-in-law of Farinata's daughter. Guido and Farinata's daughter were married, and so these are in-laws together in this prison, in this tomb. I answered, I come here not by myself, but am guided by the one waiting there, pointing at Virgil. One perhaps Guido had held in disdain. So Guido being the son, his friend, who held Virgil in disdain. Both his words and the manner of torment had already read to me the shade's name. Therefore my response to him was complete. Dante had recognized who this was. All of a sudden he rose up, straight up, crying, why did you say he had? Does he not live? Does the sweeter light strike his eyes no more? When he noticed that I had made some pause before my response, he fell back again, supine, and appeared not again outside. So Dante, the pilgrim, is confused by this question and hesitates and is not sure what Cavalcante means. But the other great soul, this is Farinata, the other great soul, at whose request I had remained, neither changed his features, nor shifted his neck, nor inclined his side, but continued what he was saying before. If they have badly learned that art, he said, that irritates me more than does this bed. But not 50 times will the face of her who reigns here below be relit before you experience the weight of that art. So this is Farinata giving Dante some indication that, okay, if my fellow Ghibellines have failed to learn the art of returning from exile, that irritates me. But within 50 months, you are going to experience the weight of exile. And Dante is like totally unsure what this means and is really confused, as we'll see. And so you may return to the sweet world. Tell me why those people are so ruthless against mine in every one of their laws. Why are the Guelphs ruthless against the Ghibellines? Wherefore I answered, the great massacre and slaughter that dyed the Arbia red caused such prayers to be made in our temple. After this he dropped his head, sighing, and said, I was not alone in that, nor indeed without cause would I have moved with the rest, but I was alone, there where others fought for Florence to be utterly destroyed. Only I openly defended her. Ah, so that your seed may ever find rest, I begged of him, untie to me this knot that has enveloped my judgment down here. It seems you shades here below see ahead, if I hear right, to things that time will bring, though it is otherwise with things present. You guys seem to be able to see the future in some way, even if you can't clearly read the present. We can see like one who has a bad light, he said, things that are far removed from us. The highest leader lights at least this much. When they draw near or are, our intellect is useless, and unless one bring us news, we would know nothing of your human state. Therefore you can understand our knowledge will die entirely at that moment when the door of the future has been closed. Then, as if repenting of my mistake, I said, Now, therefore, tell that fallen one that his son is still joined with the living. And if I was slow to answer before, let him know it was because of the knot that you have just now unraveled for me. So he says, Oh, I see. So you guys can see something of the future, but not of the present. I get it. Tell the other guy, Cavalcante, that his son is alive. I didn't understand what he was saying. My mistake. So tell him, comfort him that that Guido is still alive. Already my master was calling me. Thus I vigorously begged that spirit to reveal who else was with him entombed. He said, I lie with more than 1,000. Here within is the second Frederick and the cardinal. Of more I speak not. Then he hid himself, and I turned my steps toward the ancient poet, thinking over those words that seemed inimical to me. He moved forward, and, while we were walking, he said to me, Why are you thus dismayed? I gave a full answer to his question. Let your mind keep the harsh words you have heard, he commanded me. But now attend here, he raised a finger, when you stand before the sweet sunbeam of her beautiful eyes, those eyes that see all, from her you will know the journey of your life, what is to come. Turning to the left, we left the high wall and traveled toward the middle by a trail that dropped to a valley, the stench of which was miserable, even from above. So Dante is dismayed at this saying that Farinata gives him, that there is some kind of exile. Like, what is that? What's going to happen? He's dismayed at this, and Virgil says, just wait until you see Beatrice. The sweet sunbeam of her eyes, the beautiful eyes, the eyes that see all. She'll be able to explain to you what is going on. And it's not until Canto 17 of Paradiso that we get a clear answer as to what these foreshadows, these warnings, these taunts are all about. All right, so he meets Farinata and Cavalcante, discusses Dante's future a little bit, and what's going on in Florence, and gets to learn something about the state of these souls as they are in hell. His education is developing, he's growing, he's learning a little bit each time with each person he meets and talks with. So in the next canto, we are going to stay right here where they left off, because the stench is so great, they have to let their senses grow accustomed a little bit. And so they're going to stay here and talk about the nature of hell and its structure and what puts sinners in various circles and why circles are in a specific order. So we'll catch that next time. So until then, take care.